Hi, and welcome back to ScottiesTech.Info. I'm Scotty with my co-host Cletus, and I have extremely poofy hair, and I don't care. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that I am a complete moron. So, about 2 years ago, in May of 2017, I made two videos, and one of the videos was about the world's best LED headlamp. That one I was fairly accurate on. I also made another video about the best LED flashlights. That one is where I'm a moron. So in a recent video, I talked about the book AI Superpowers by Kai-Fu Lee. You can watch that video in the link up there. I got that for my birthday. I also got a new LED flashlight for my birthday. And this flashlight is completely insane. So I want to make, for 2019, I want to make a new video about the best LED flashlight and the best LED headlamp. So, let's take a peek. So here, first we'll start off with the headlamps. This is the old guy. This is the Black Diamond Revolt, and you may recall he's rechargeable. You can put alkaline batteries, nickel metal hydride. I've had him for several years now, and there's a newer model of this guy available. He's really not that bad. The only problem is that if you use alkaline batteries, it's kind of so-so. If you use nickel metal hydride, they're rechargeable, so you waste fewer batteries. But the problem that I found is that as the nickel metal hydride batteries get older, they tend to lose their juice, you know, like the more you recharge them, then the less of a charge they hold. And so this guy would actually give me, after a couple years, it's like maybe 45 minutes at a good brightness level, but it was like continually dropping. And after a while, it just kind of became annoying because I ended up sticking alkaline batteries in, and that made it a little better. But I was kind of like, you know, maybe it's time to look for a new one. And indeed, I found a new one. The new one that I found is this guy, also a Black Diamond, but it is called the Black Diamond Iota. Now, you notice the difference in size between these. This is the old one, this is the new one. You can't feel it on the video, but the Iota is also extremely small and extremely light. It is very, very light. Real quick, the difference with this one is not only is it smaller and lighter, it's splash proof. It's not totally waterproof. The headband is thinner. Because it's so light, it's very comfortable to wear. It still angles. And the coolest thing is that it has an integrated lithium-ion battery. You still charge it via the USB port. And it has, you know, it's kind of pretty standard. It has, you know, you turn it on, it has on and off, and then if you press and hold, you can dim it down, and then you use the top button to turn it on and off. It also has this cool feature called Power Tap. You can see the little indicator there, and what that does is you basically turn the dude on, and he's on the lower setting, and you can reach up and tap it, and it goes to full brightness, tap it again, and it goes off. And then if you want, you press and hold. And the other cool thing is that when it's on, you press and hold to vary the brightness. So you'll notice it does that little flashy thing, because as you hold the button, it'll continually go up and down in brightness. And it does this little flicker to let you know it's at the bottom or the top. So plus it's got the power tap thing. It's a pretty cute little headlamp. The beam pattern, I tried to film this stuff in the dark, and like, yeah, I'm no photographer, so the beam pattern, you'll notice this one as compared to the old Revolt, this guy has kind of this funky lens on here. The Iota, you might think that it's not quite as good, but it actually has a very broad beam pattern. It's actually pretty useful for darn near everything, and it has this kind of textured light diffuser on there, and it makes like a very nice, it's kind of like a wide diffuse beam, but if you're working on something up close, like an electrical panel when the power is off, it's also very good. So This guy has become my new favorite. In terms of battery life, it's also much better because it has a lithium-ion battery pack inside. They tell you officially like, oh, well, you might get like 2 hours of runtime. And when I ordered it, I looked at reviews, and many people said like, oh, I use it for camping, blah, blah, blah. And they claimed up to 3 hours of battery life. And so far, I'm finding that, yeah, it's actually closer to 3 hours of battery life. And of course, towards the end, it gets a little dimmer. But it's much better than the Revolt, and it's cooler, it's super light, and yeah, so the Black Diamond Iota, he is my new favorite headlamp. Okay, so now for the Phoenix PD35 Tach. Now, my previous favorite was the LED Lenser P7.2, and he had the focusable beam and everything, but my new favorite is the Phoenix PD35 Tach. We'll get a little zoom in here. You can see there's the name, you can see the little side button, and you'll notice there it says hot. I'll get to that in a minute. There's also this rubberized button on the end, which is pretty cool because they give you this button and actually a spare. They give you a lanyard. It comes with a carrying case. It's about $79 on Amazon. If you pay $89, you get a rechargeable 18650 lithium-ion cell, which I recommend. It's easy to charge, and the batteries last longer. Otherwise, what you have to do is you have to use, these guys, which are CR123A 3-volt lithium cells, better known as camera batteries. You put 2 of these in, you stick them in the end, and you're off and running. But for maximum battery life, you should use one of these, an 18650 cell. Now, I got this as a gift, so I didn't get the one with the rechargeable version of this. The $89 one comes with, it's a slightly longer than an 18650 because on the end it has a little USB port, and you can plug a USB cable in, plug it into your computer, and directly charge the battery without the need for a charger, as I have here. Now, I already had the charger, and I got some of these cells. I got 4 of them, so I can just stick them in the charger. But if you want to keep it simple, you just get the one that costs $10 more. You've got a rechargeable battery, and you're off and running. Now, the reason that you want the more powerful lithium-ion cell, oh, it's already in there, is because this guy, the Phoenix PD35, is utterly freaking insane. Its maximum power is the light output. The maximum light output is 1,000 lumens. It has a Cree XP-L LED in it. 1,000 lumens on turbo, the highest light output. Now, this thing is actually so bright at 1,000 lumens that if you hold it about this far from your finger and turn it on, I'm not going to look at it, your fingertip looks like the surface of the sun, and it will blind you for about a minute or two afterwards because the amount of light reflected is so insane. And because it's 1,000 lumens, it generates a lot of heat, which is why they have the little heat warning. Also, because it generates so much heat, it has kind of a special feature where you turn it on, and it will run on turbo, 1,000 lumens, for about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, it dims automatically to the high output level, which is only 500 lumens. So if I do a test, that's high, and that's turbo. Now, yeah, there's a difference in brightness, but if you're outside in the dark, the difference is, yeah, like even on the high mode at 500 lumens, you can still blind yourself if you shine it at your finger or something and you look at it. And by all means, do not stare directly at the beam ever, because it's like blindingly bright. I tried to get some outside nighttime shots. It's very difficult because I'm not a photographer. If you compare this guy to, like, say, a 3D cell mag light side by side, this thing lights up like an entire forest. It's insanely powerful. Now, there's a little quirk. There's an excellent review, which I'll link to in the description, on a website called candlepowerforums.com. They have an insanely detailed interview that was really good, and that's where I stole this graph from. So they reviewed the PD35 Tach, and normally what happens, as I said, is after 5 minutes, that's what this dotted line here is. After 5 minutes, it runs at, you have relative output here in a percentage, and you have time here. So what happens is that after 5 minutes, it drops from turbo to high, which is about 50% power output. It drops from 1,000 lumens to 500, and then if you press this side button again, it'll automatically jump back up to turbo mode again. If you do that, you can see this curve here, where basically your actual relative light output is going to be dropping rapidly, and that's because this at 1,000 lumens, this thing is sucking so much juice from the battery that it's not going to last very long. So you can see after about let's see, right here, after about 55 minutes, you've dropped from 100% output down to about 60%. Normally, you won't even need to use the turbo mode because at 1,000 lumens, it's so insanely bright. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. It's uber bright. It's so bright that normally I just use it on high mode, which is only 500 lumens. And if you do that, you can see on the dotted line here, you're going to get like a good, actually you get about 2.5 hours of battery life. This graph was made with a 2,600 milliamp hour battery, and I'm actually using a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. So I get, on high mode, I get almost 2.5 hours of runtime with it on all the time. It also has a few, it has like the standard features, you know, you do like press the button this way and do this, do like a quasi tap and then turn it on, and you switch from tactical mode to outdoor mode, and there's a strobe mode, and you know, all kinds of stuff I don't use. What I use is turn the dang thing on, and this adjusts your brightness level. And at the lowest setting, it's actually very good for, you know, if you're out in the forest and you don't want to blind yourself, you know, save your night vision or something. At the highest mode, like, it hurts my eyes to look at the paper. It's insanely bright. It's much smaller. It's lighter than the LED lenser. And also, as far as I can tell, the reason that I'm such a moron is because this is such an awesome flashlight, and it's been around since at least 2015. But I didn't know that. So anyway, that's why I'm so excited about it. It's an absolutely fantastic flashlight. And it's a little bit expensive at 79 bucks, but wow, it's amazing. The only last thing I would say about the Phoenix is that the beam pattern, it doesn't have a focusable beam, and you'd think that would be a problem, but it's actually not, because the beam is, it's kind of interesting because it's sort of like a wide angle beam, but there's also a bright spot in the center, and it's kind of evenly saturated. It's actually very well done, so you don't really need to have the focusability. It doesn't actually detract from it at all. In fact, compared to my LED lenser P7.2, I don't miss the ability to focus at all. Normally when I'm using this guy, because on turbo at 1,000 lumens, it's like so bright that I usually operate it on high power, which is 500 lumens, and it's still, it's crazy. Like, I could go in the backyard and put it even at 500 lumens at high power, and it lights up like the entire backyard. You can shine it up at a tree. I mean, it's crazy. And you do a side-by-side test with a mag light, and the mag light is like, forget about it. So yeah, this guy is super awesome. Anyway, that's about it. I will put links in the description to the Black Diamond Iota, the Phoenix PD35 Tach, some 18650 cells, and a charger. Note that for the 18650 cells, these little guys, and for the charger, it kind of depends on where you live. Where I live in France, like, there's different brands and stuff available, so I'll put links for the US and Europe if you want to pick some of these things up. And yeah, so if you know of any flashlight that's even better than this one or the Black Diamond Iota, please let me know in the comments, because as you can tell, I'm extremely happy with this little guy, and I'm always searching for a better LED flashlight because I'm totally obsessed with them for some odd reason. So, right. That's all, folks. For more techie tips, see ScottiesTech.Info. Thanks for watching. See you next time.